77. The Awakening.
The Wanderer's Shadow finished his song, and those of us who are familiar with philosophical writings are feeling a familiar feeling. After the first three parts that were all Zarathustra monologuing, the fourth part has many people talking, and it reminds us of one of the most canonical philosophical texts of all time, Plato's Symposium. What is happening in Zarathustra's cave is a symposium of sorts, in which the guests all try to provide their take on his philosophy. None of them fully gets it, but they get parts of it, creating a dialectical conversation from which they all learn. Where is it going to lead them?
1. After the song of the Wanderer and Shadow, the cave became all at once full of noise and laughter, and since the assembled guests all spake simultaneously, and even the ass, encouraged thereby, no longer remained silent, a little aversion and scorn for his visitors came over Zarathustra, although he rejoiced at their gladness, for it seemed to him a sign of convalescence. So he slipped out into the open air and spake to his animals.
The Shadow's song was quite funny and ridiculous, and the listeners react in kind. Zarathustra is enjoying what is happening to his guests, but is also still disgusted by them. He slips outside the cave again, to talk to his animals.
Whither hath their distress now gone? Said he, and already did he himself feel relieved of his petty disgust. With me it seemeth that they have unlearned their cries of distress, though alas, not yet their crying. And Zarathustra stopped his ears, for just then did the "ee-ah" of the ass mix strangely with the noisy jubilation of those higher men.
He realizes that the noise that they make no longer sounds like a cry of distress, that he actually had a good effect on them, and that lifts up his spirit and removes the disgusting feeling. But they are still too noisy for him. They are happy, which is good, but in a vulgar way, not in the way that he espouses, when you become so elated that you feel like you're dancing on mountain tops.
They are merry, he began again, and who knoweth, perhaps at their host's expense, and if they have learned of me to laugh, still it is not my laughter they have learned. But what matter about that? They are old people, they recover in their own way, they laugh in their own way. Mine ears have already endured worse and have not become peevish.
Starting to rationalize it, he realizes that this is a good thing. He can't expect them to get to where he is all at once. This silly joviality that took over them is a good first step.
This day is a victory. He already yieldeth. He fleeth, the spirit of gravity, mine old arch-enemy. How well this day is about to end, which began so badly and gloomily. And it is about to end. Already cometh the evening. Over the sea rideth it hither, the good rider. How it bobbeth, the blessed one, the home-returning one, in its purple saddles. The sky gazeth brightly thereon, the world lieth deep. Oh, all ye strange ones who have come to me, it is already worthwhile to have lived with me.
He celebrates his victory, the victory over the spirit of gravity. He managed to banish it, at least for a while, even from the hearts and bodies of his guests. Maybe there's hope for humanity after all.
Thus spake Zarathustra, and again came the cries and laughter of the higher men out of the cave. Then began he anew. They bite at it, my bait taketh, there departeth also from them their enemy, the spirit of gravity. Now do they learn to laugh at themselves. Do I hear rightly? My virile food taketh effect, my strong and savoury sayings, and verily I did not nourish them with flatulent vegetables, but with warrior food, with conqueror food. New desires did I awaken.
Yes, it was his words that did this. He told them that they should learn to laugh at themselves, and this is what they are currently doing. This awakens new desires in them, desires that can set them on a better path.
New hopes are in their arms and legs, their hearts expand. They find new words, soon will their spirits breathe wantonness. Such food may sure enough not be proper for children, nor even for longing girls, old and young. One persuadeth their bowels otherwise. I am not their physician and teacher. The disgust departeth from these higher men. Well, that is my victory. In my domain they become assured. All stupid shame fleeth away. They empty themselves.
These higher men all felt disgust with humanity, including with themselves. This is why they sought Zarathustra. It looks like he managed to rid them of that disgust. They realized that human existence isn't bad and tragic in itself, like they've been taught, but can be happy and heroic. It is Western culture that turned human existence into something tragic. It is not something that is inherent to this existence.
They empty their hearts. Good times return unto them. They keep holiday and ruminate. They become thankful. That do I take as the best sign. They become thankful. Not long will it be ere they devise festivals and put up memorials to their old joys. They are convalescents. Thus spoke Zarathustra joyfully to his heart, and gazed outward. His animals, however, pressed up to him, and honored his happiness and his silence.
Zarathustra may have preached that we should refrain from being pitiful, but throughout the book we saw signs that he feels compassion for his fellow humans and grieves their wretched condition. The same compassion now fills his heart with happiness, as he sees his guests beginning to wake up from the wretchedness, to heal from the effects of culture.
2. All on a sudden, however, Zarathustra's ear was frightened, for the cave, which had hitherto been full of noise and laughter, became all at once still as death. His nose, however, smelt a sweet-scented vapour and incense odour, as if from burning pine cones. What happeneth? What are they about? He asked himself, and stole up to the entrance, that he might be able unobserved to see his guests. But wonder upon wonder, what was he then obliged to behold with his own eyes?
The first part of this chapter ended on a note of happiness and hope, a sense of triumph. But then, Zarathustra is startled as he no longer hears the happy commotion coming from his cave. His guests have gone silent, and the only sign of them is the smell of incense. He sneaks back into the cave to see what they are up to, and the sight he sees astounds him. What could they be doing to make him feel this way?
They have all of them become pious again. They pray. They are mad, said he, and was astonished beyond measure. And forsooth, all these higher men, the 2 kings, the Pope out of service, the evil magician, the voluntary beggar, the wanderer and shadow, the old soothsayer, the spiritually conscientious one, and the ugliest man, they all lay on their knees like children and credulous old women and worshipped the ass.
What he gazes upon is a religious ritual, in which all of his guests are worshipping the donkey. This is what their tomfoolery eventually led to. How did this happen?
And just then began the ugliest man to gurgle and snort, as if something unutterable in him tried to find expression. When, however, he had actually found words, behold, it was a pious, strange litany in praise of the adored and censed ass. And the litany sounded thus: Amen, and glory and honour and wisdom and thanks and praise and strength be to our God from everlasting to everlasting. The ass, however, here brayed, "Ya."
Seems that the ugliest man, the one who killed God, found himself a new God. Since he is a symbolic figure, representing the side of humanity that killed God, we should understand him as representing all the guests in the cave. He deified the jackass, and now sings a hymn in his glory.
He carrieth our burdens, he hath taken upon him the form of a servant, he is patient of heart and never saith nay, and he who loveth his God chastiseth him. The ass, however, here brayed, "Yea." He speaketh not, except that he ever saith yea to the world, which he created. Thus doth he extol his world. It is his artfulness that speaketh not. Thus is he rarely found wrong. The ass, however, here brayed, "Yea." Uncomely goeth he through the world. Grey is the favourite colour in which he wrappeth his virtue. Hath he spirit, then doth he conceal it. Every one, however, believeth in his long ears. The ass, however, here brayed, Yah!
What they have done is take the philosophy of Zarathustra, what they understood from it, and turn it into a religion. He teaches that you should not believe in spiritual beings, like God, so they worship a physical animal instead. He teaches that you should affirm earthly life, be a yea-sayer, and the donkey sounds like he is saying yea about everything. He teaches that you should chastise what you believe in, and the donkey is an animal that serves man and gets chastised by him. The donkey, therefore, represents, for them, this philosophy that they now adopted.
What hidden wisdom it is to wear long ears, and only to say yea, and never nay. Hath he not created the world in his own image, namely, as stupid as possible? The ass, however, here brayed, Yea. Thou goest straight and crooked ways. It concerneth thee little what seemeth straight or crooked unto us men. Beyond good and evil is thy domain. It is thine innocence not to know what innocence is. The ass, however, here brayed, Yea.
The donkey also walks crooked paths, as Zarathustra does, and he has no morality. He is beyond good and evil. Furthermore, he is known to be stupid, and so he represents the senselessness of the world, the fact that it has no logical creator. Thus, again, he is the perfect God.
Lo, how thou spurnest none from thee, neither beggars nor kings. Thou sufferest little children to come unto thee, and when the bad boys decoy thee, then sayest thou simply, Yea. The ass, however, here brayed, Yea. Thou lovest she-asses and fresh figs. Thou art no food despiser. A thistle tickleth thy heart when thou chancest to be hungry. There is the wisdom of a god therein. The ass, however, here brayed, Yea.
Here he makes him sound more like Jesus, whose religion is open for anyone to join. This is not what Zarathustra is about, and we see that already this new religion becomes tainted with ideas taken from other religions. He also praises the donkey for living by his earthly desires, which is also a bastardization of Zarathustra's teachings. So, it looks like Zarathustra celebrated too early. The higher men, which he believed to be convalescents, have turned into a bunch of jackasses who worship a jackass. Tune in to the next chapter to see how he is going to react.